Guns that Alex loves so much is still on the agenda at the White House. The Vice President is heading a task force that the President has put in place. I love that. I love a task force. Yeah. Generally, task forces do nothing.
Nothing.
They're tasked and they have little force. It seems, though, that the Vice President, according to Colin Goddard of the Brady Center, who walked out of the, who left that meeting yesterday feeling really good, really positive that the Vice President is very serious about doing, and the White House is very serious about doing something here and will do something, whether it's everything that everybody who wants gun control wants. Probably unlikely. But the NRA met with the Vice President today, so he's had people from either end of the spectrum. The NRA left their meeting, and the statement that they released was that they were disappointed. We were disappointed with how little this meeting had to do with keeping our children safe and how much it had to do with an agenda to attack the Second Amendment. Attacking the Second Amendment is keeping our children safe. That's the idea, NRA. So, Jimmy, I mean, do you have any sense of optimism here about something coming out? I mean, I'm guessing just by your demeanor that you don't.
No, I don't. And B...
It's a good guess.
Well, first of all, if you remember when they passed the assault weapons ban the first time, the result of that was they lost the House in a landslide, right? So Clinton passes the assault ban weapon,
right?
And then the next time he holds a press conference, he has to answer the questions of why he's still relevant.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And Joe Biden was part of creating that assault weapons ban. Joe Biden's been in the right place on guns for a while. I'm a big Joe Biden fan. I've always been a big Joe Biden fan. He's actually gotten things done. He's had good ideas. I think if he had been Secretary of State and not Vice President, that interesting. I mean, I don't take nothing away from Secretary Clinton. I think that different ideas about what to do in Afghanistan and Iraq would have been talked about around the world. And in any case, that's off the subject. Joe Biden, though, has said that he wants to make this, that everybody's opinion is involved, but they're going to get things done. Here's Joe Biden talking about just that.
There's got to be some common ground here to not solve every problem, but diminish the probability that what we've seen in these mass shootings will occur, and diminish the probability that our children are at risk in their schools. I'm not sure that we can guarantee this will never happen again. But as the President said, even if what we do only saves one life, it makes sense. And I think we can do a great deal without in any way imposing on or impinging on the rights of the Second Amendment.
Well, that's the whole thing. So they say, well, even if we save one life, well, the problem is you never know what life you saved.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is there's going to be another shooting, and then people are going to go, see, you passed that law and people are still shooting people.
That's exactly right. And, today, we're up to 695 deaths since Newtown, gun deaths.
Wow.
Since Newtown. 695. That's 35, almost 35 Newtowns since Newtown. And that's just extraordinary. But today, in Georgia, a mother protected her family by shooting a burglar 5 times, didn't kill him. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The NRA is saying, here we are. This guy had a gun, this woman had a gun, this family had a gun, and they were able to keep the burglar out. As if that one incident somehow can be traded for those 695. Again, there has to be some common ground, because you're not going to get everybody who owns a gun to see the way.
But they already say, here's my problem, Michael. Half of all households already have a gun in them, right? And the ones that have them already probably have multiple guns, right? So no matter what law you pass, those guns are already out there. Yeah. There's already a gun for every human being in America. There's a gun already. So if we're gonna, I think the only thing you could really try to do is try to maybe to get the bullets. So you have to get the clips.
Well, the bullets, by the way, are not in the Constitution.
Right.
You can making bullets. This is the Michael Schur Sr. My late dad always said, why don't they make bullets illegal? Because they're not in the Constitution. My dad was right about that.
Or make them expensive. Put a big tax on them.
Or make them really
So if you
expensive.
really want to protect yourself, here, where it's going to cost you $100 a bullet, but it's worth it if someone's coming at you. There you go. You got $600 in bullets.
It's like
in
an
your
alarm
gun.
system. If you want to put a $100 bullet in your gun. The idea, though, that we are so gun crazy here, when you hear those numbers about how many people have guns, how many people have multiple guns, what the gun laws in America allow, there are things that they can do. These universal background checks, I think, vitally important. I think that's going to come out of this. I think making these magazine clips, these multiple fire rounds, illegal, working on that.
I think that's the only thing that will have a real impact, because you know background checks, all that stuff. The guy who shot up Newtown, he didn't have he didn't need, his mother bought the gun legally,
right.
And that's how most, just the cases that I've been looking at, they get them from their parents.
And then there are things that the president, that the executive branch can do. There are executive orders, and here's the vice president talking about executive orders.
I want it clear to the American public that on behalf of the president, we're reaching out to all parties on whatever side of this debate you fall. But the president is going to act. There are executive orders, executive action that can be taken. We haven't decided what that is yet, but we're compiling it all with the help of the Attorney General and all the rest of the cabinet members, as well as legislative action we believe is required.
Maybe I'm going to be a hypocrite here, because I'm going to do exactly what Barack Obama does that drives me crazy. But I think this is a mistake. I don't think Joe Biden should head this task force. I don't think the president should be to lead on this. I think that it should be a Republican in Congress or the Senate.
Yeah, but nobody has, Jimmy.
So then,
20 kids die in a school, the president and the White House, I totally disagree.
So here's what happens.
Have to react.
So here's what happens then.
Yeah.
What happened the last time was we got a Republican majority in the Congress. Bill Clinton's hands were tied. He was neutered. We ended up passing the Telecommunications Act. We deregulated the banks. Now people are out of their houses. People lost their lives.
Right,
people can't get medical care because
I think people are starting to look at. I think moderate Democrats. I think other Democrats. I even think some Republicans. And I think this is an evolution that will happen. But I think people are starting to look at the NRA as a foolish group of people.
I don't think so.
I think no, not right this second. I think, though, that their influence is going to wane. I think it's going to wane, and the more you have the White House out front of this, I think. Listen,
I hope that
100,000 more people have supposedly signed up to be
Yes.
members of the NRA. I know that. I'm talking about their influence in Congress.
So I saw their a statistic today that said that roughly 46% of the American people have a favorable view of the NRA right now. After that guy gave that jackass
That's
press
the National
conference.
Restaurants Association
Oh,
that Herman Cain was the head of. Yeah, they loved it. They loved Herman Cain. Yeah, exactly. I know that. I think that is going to change. I think that it is on the wane. Maybe pure optimism, Michael Schur optimism here. I don't think that's the case. I really do think that it's going to be incremental, but it's going to happen. What I am afraid of with this executive order stuff, whenever an executive order happens, it breeds a ton of resentment from both allies and enemies in Congress. When you go around Congress, when you kind of skirt the Constitution a little bit with these executive orders, it's protected, so it is the constitutional, but when you go around another branch of government, nobody likes it. And I think that they have to be very careful in the water they tread there, but if they feel like they can't get anything done legislatively, and that executive order sounds like we have to have universal background checks for everybody who buys a gun, and we have to close the gun show loophole, I think that at that point that I feel like that's an okay executive order to come out of the White House.